I'm going to be showing the right-handed version of the 6-loop spiral braid. This is for my tutorial filed in the Braids and Bands Yahoo list on loop braiding. And the 6-loop spiral braid is a little bit reduced version of the classic lace bend round of 8 bows or loops from the medieval manuscripts, and it's a very fun braid. This is a little simpler than the 8-loop version, and it turns out really nice. It's a very pretty braid. You start with 3 loops of one color on one hand. Let's center this in the camera here. And 3 loops of a contrasting color on the other hand. The loops are going to be exchanged from one hand to the other in pairs, and this is the order that they get exchanged. 1, 2, 3. Then it goes back down to 1, 2, 3. It's a circular repeating pattern. Loops are always pulled for right-handers. They'll always be pulled from left to right. I have a left-handed version of this video of this as well. So if you're left-handed, go to that video. Okay, here we go. We're going to start. The move is the same as for the 2-loop braid. I'm going to put my right loop onto the left finger. Let's see if this shows. Here we go. The right loop onto the left finger, reach over that left loop and pull it through. Kind of ease it off the tip of the finger, and now tighten the loops. That doesn't mean necessarily pulling very hard, but straight out to the sides. Move 2. Lay the right loop on. Here we go. Pull the left loop through. Tighten. Rock the move, tightening move here. 3rd move. Put it on. See if you can see that. Reach over. Pull the left loop through. It comes over with a turn. And it's actually not controversial, but you don't have to do it with a turn. It was traditional. And in the spiral braid, it doesn't hurt. Yeah, that was move number 1. Comes move number 2. Get on, reaching over. Getting that off. Tighten. Move number 3. Put the loop on and reaching over the top. Pushing the left one through. Tighten. Again, 1. Tighten. 2. Tighten. 3. Tighten. I forgot to mention that you should check after each series of 3 moves, after each braiding cycle, look at your loops and make sure that all the loops of one color are on one hand and all the loops of the other color are on the other hand. If they're not, you can either undo, which actually isn't that hard. You can look down at the cell of the braid down there, see what your last loop through was and how to get it back. You're going to turn it back, undoing the turn that it got. Lift the other loop over. There, I just undid it. I'm going to redo it. In any case, even if you don't want to undo, go back to the root of your mistake, when you get to the end of the 3 moves, and for some reason you don't have all the blues on one side and all the rainbow colors on the other, just put them there. Because if you don't do that, your spiral pattern will disappear. When you start with number 1, with move number 1, you really need to have all the darks, all the colors together on each hand. Okay, so here we go with 1 again. 1. Put that on very well. 1. Push the other one tighten, 3, tighten, check, yes, all the colors are correct, 1, tighten, 2, tighten, 3, tighten, check the colors, looks good, 1, tighten, 2, tighten, 3, tighten, 1, tighten, 2, tighten, 3, tighten. I'm going to do it super slowly in case I've been going too fast. Okay, so 1, laying it on, pulling the other one through. You kind of ease it towards yourself to get it over the tip of the finger. Tighten. 2. Lay the first loop on. Sort of looking in the camera here. There we go. Pull the other one through. Kind of ease it towards you. Get it off. Tighten. 3. Lay it on. Push the other one through, pulling it a little bit towards yourself. Tighten. This braid requires a little firmer touch with the tightening than square braids, but I kind of hesitate to say that because most newcomers to loop braiding pull much too hard. The important thing to do is to pull out, not to let the loops go slack and then jerk them. That doesn't result in good tightening. Kind of smoothly with even tension and all the way to the sides. I pretty much make a straight line from hand to hand, and I rock it a couple times. That's like beating the shed in weaving, beating the fell. You do it kind of gently and firmly out to the sides. Okay, what I was going to say, what I want to bring up is that there is another way to take the loops that changes the braid a little bit. The spiral pattern is one of a few other, or maybe even several other patterns you can make with the same braiding structure. The spiral one is the more well-known one. You can also make lengthwise stripes, and when you start making other patterns than the spiral, you'll see that this braid actually has a sort of a torque to it. It has a little twist that's separate from the spiral, and that's because each time you take a loop, you're turning it in one direction. The loops only ever get turned, well, if you're right-handed, or if you're right-handed and turning from above, the way I do, instead of from below. There's really two ways you could turn the loop, from above or from below. It's hard to see that it turns, but it really does turn. This is the upper shank. That is the upper shank. After I turn it, it will be on the bottom. Anyway, let me put it back. There's another way to take the loop without turning it, which will result in a braid that looks straighter, especially when you're not doing a spiral pattern. You can't see the torque because in the spiral braid, the spiral covers it up. When you make this braid with a lengthwise stripe, you'll see a torque. You'll see it a long, slow twist. I kind of like it, but some people don't want that, and maybe I wouldn't want it for certain things. And in that case, you want to take the loops without turning them. And this is one way. There's many ways to do it, but in any of the ways that you're going to be doing it, you will put your finger through both the loops. You will take the loop in some way from within it. That will make it not turn over as you get it over onto the other hand. So I seem to prefer, I've only done this a few times, I usually go inside the loop and then grab the bottom shank, the lower of the shanks, and lift it up and bring it through like that. There's other ways you could do it. I'll demonstrate here. I'm putting my finger through both loops. Now I'm going to take it unturned with no turn by grabbing the top, the upper shank, and bringing it through like that. That also didn't turn over. I did it a different way, but it resulted in the same exact loop movement. Here I'm going to do it again. I'm going to put my third move, my third loop movement on. I'm going to reach through both loops. The one I'm going to take my preferred way. I don't like the shadows in here. I'm taking my preferred way. I'm reaching down and kind of fishing the lower shank, bringing it through the blue loop, through the loop I just set there. Now I kind of come forward to ease it off, that finger, and through the other loop. There are other ways. I saw a video that I don't know how to find again, of a woman doing a fancy thing with her thumb to get the loop. Yeah, I think that's what she did, and that's another option. You could use your thumb to open this loop, the loop I tend to put on the finger. She opened it up and reached through and grabbed the loop like that. And then the loop that temporarily sort of was on the thumb went on. That's another way. Let's do it that way. As long as you see my finger taking the blue loop is just going through it. It's not going above it or below it. It's going through it. That way it will come over without a turn. That was move number 2. Here comes move number 3. I'm going to take it, I don't know, my way. I mean the way I showed before, where you just get it off like that. So I'll do a few more rounds without turning the loop. It won't create a visible difference at all in the spiral braid. It would create something of a difference on the versions of this that have lengthwise stripes or some non-spiraling pattern. Okay, so I'm putting it on. I do this so rarely. There's other ways, slightly different too. I think it might be more efficient to put it on, roll under, since I am getting, the way I do it, get the lower loop. So I put it on, roll under, fish the lower loop out, slide it forward, tighten. I'll do that this way. So I'm getting the lower loop, sliding it off. I probably did that too fast. But basically, if you want to take the loop without turning it, any way that is comfortable for you, to bring that loop, the loop and back, the one you're getting, to bring it through by reaching your finger through it, by not turning it over. There's a lot of different ways it can be done. As long as it comes through without a turn, then you'll be doing the spiral braid structure, the spiral braid type of braid, whether it has a spiral pattern or not. You'll be doing it without imparting a torque or twist to the braid, because all the loops will not get twisted. I'm going to go back to turning them. I think I like that. I like doing it that way, and it doesn't show in the spiral pattern in any case. So I'm back to move number 1, and I checked. It was very clear that all the dark loops were on one side, all the light or bright ones on the other. So I'm ready. Oops, doing it wrong. I'm ready to start my braiding cycle with the first move. Again, I'm back to turning the loops now. Probably throwing way too much information out at you. Here we go. I'm taking the upper shank and lifting it off. 1, tighten. 2,